Very pleased to introduce you the last but not least nominee of tonight, Simone Wyss Fedele. Simone. So we stay here between, it's us before the main course, so this is the challenge. Schönen guten Abend, Simone. So you're an accomplished leader in the field of international business development. You hold a PhD in international economics with proven management and board experience in various industries, including life science, technology, insurance. You bring a deep understanding of the global market, and you played a pivotal role in renowned companies such as Novartis and Takeda. But you are now the new CEO of, not new, but already a while, CEO of Switzerland Global Enterprise. This company is a private consulting and platform organization commissioned by the Confederation and the cantons that promotes Swiss exports and investment worldwide. It comprises 2,000 members in over 20 countries and more than 3,000 partners worldwide. The company supports over 5,500 customers in Switzerland and in around 130 other countries with the international business development. Let's take a seat and have a few questions.
Well, thank you for having me tonight.
So, Simone, you're the CEO. How would you describe a bit the specific impact that you make now at Global Enterprise?
So I think in general, and maybe most of us know, right, it's never us, it's always a team, right? So I think for me, it has been more during the last 5 years to showing the direction and then winning hearts. Mm-hmm. But maybe a story to it is why did I join SGE? And when I was working for Novartis and Takeda, launching products in over 30 markets, I mean, I always had great teams doing that, right? Mm-hmm. And when you do that, you know, every market is different. And I was like, how do those fabulous Swiss SMEs do that? Mm-hmm. How do they know in which market to go, when, with whom? Mm-hmm. How do they deal with regulation? I mean, look at the world today. And then when I connected with SG, I was like, oh, wow. Here you can really support, you can make a difference, and you can give something back to Switzerland. Mm-hmm. And this was important to me. And now, together with the team the last 5 years, we worked very hard because the world is changing, right? And it was important when I joined, the organization was really sales-driven. Mm-hmm. And we realized if we want to make a true difference, we need to move to a purpose and customer value-driven organization. Mm-hmm. And by doing that, we actually increased customer satisfaction up to 95%, and we have more clients than before. It's worthwhile doing it, right? And in addition, we were very focused on stability. We were inwards oriented, mm-hmm. and the world was changing, right? So we really had to push all our employees to love change. Now, if you people don't love change, I mean, you really need to push energy into that. And I think we had quite some change, but people are super engaged and happy. Today, you see the results of it. Mm-hmm. And then important, every one of us needs to drive digital transformation forward. And so I think we're very happy that we have pushed this. I think today, 80% of our growth comes from digital services. And so, yeah, I'm very proud of the team.
Very good, well done. If we look back also at the time where you were working in larger corporations, Novartis, Takeda, we know it's large companies with a system. So there, what kept you out at night during those times? You had very important roles, so what was it that kept you up at night?
I mean, I always say I sleep very well, but it has not always been the case. I mean, so there's one fun story. So I joined Novartis. I had a new job. I was around 30. I had 2 weeks in the new position. My manager calls me up and says, Simone, you need to develop a new pricing tool for Novartis. You have 6 weeks. I'm like, yes, well, thank you. And then on top, well, if you don't do that, you're going to have problems. I was like, oh, great leadership. So the fun thing is, in the end, we achieved it as a team in 6 weeks. In the end, I didn't lose my job, but was able to manage the financial crisis task force for the Novartis division. And I told the global pricing head, well, you can use this tool actually to manage the loss of exclusivity of your biggest product. He was laughing at me, walking out. Well, 2 years later, Novartis used exactly this tool. So I think it was more about, sometimes it's worthwhile to have sleeping nights because you find the right solutions, but then it's good to manage crisis, and today I sleep a little bit better.
Good, glad for that. We talked a lot also about investing in women and gender, and you said to me, well, it's not that there are no networks, it's just that the women are not known. And another element you then said, it's super important to make yourself visible. How did you make yourself visible?
That's a good question. I think when I was younger, I was very much driven always by contributing and being the one who does the job. So I think this is how I became visible to sponsors, and then there was one thing after the other. But what I did is actually I said yes to unpaid work, right? So I was leading the biggest economic association in Switzerland, being quite young, and it was 1 day work per week on the weekend, but I got visibility, and I actually was able to, to access a great network. So I think it's, particularly when you're young, it's actually good, I mean, it can be a political party, it can be anything, but just go out and show yourself is important.
Thanks, Simone. Thank you. So let's have a look at the questions from the public. How can Swiss exporters continue to be competitive in a complex, global and polarized world?
Well, my answer is a little bit, on one side, maybe first the easy one, right? They just need to continue what they've been doing for now. Swiss companies, they're always competitive if they are super innovative in a very small niche. Where the challenge is to remain competitive, they need to become more strategic. So they need to think more about risks, right? So they need to think about, am I too exposed in China? Can I regionalize? Can I have the money to do the US from Americas, do Europe from a certain country? But it's very costly, but I think they need to become more strategic.
Can you share any specific challenges that you faced?
A specific one. I mean, earlier this morning, this evening, I told someone, my challenge is, if you believe in a leadership where your role is to empower and enable people, you need to let go. Now, when you let go, you have no clue what's happening in the end, right? But it's really worthwhile doing that. In 90% of the cases, the work is much better than you ever could have done it. But in 10%, it's not. But that's where you need to move in. So you become a constant problem solver. And I had a time where I got quite focused on the problems. And I was like, there are always problems. And I forgot to look at the positive things. And I think there, for me, the challenge was to adapt a positive mindset. So now I just get up every morning. I say, I'm going to have tons of problems. This is exciting, and it really helps me. So when it's about resilience, this was a reflection that helped me actually to stay positive, even though you have constant challenges.
Excellent. The concept of a rather growth mindset rather than gap mindset, I guess. Talking about gap, how did you kind of also in your role actually promote the companies that are either led by women, or to look at reducing maybe the constant gender gap we hear?
This is always a little bit difficult question. So look, one part of being visible as a woman, I realized with time, you have a responsibility to be as well a role model. So I think if you're successful as a woman, show yourself. In general, I'm a believer in equal opportunities, right? So I always try to give opportunities to those who are really great, but being a woman, I confess sometimes I look more for those who maybe don't show off right away. But I think that's a contribution I can do. In general, I think great women, great men. They will go their way. Everyone needs sponsors. So I think just be a sponsor for people you believe in.
Excellent. Good. We talked about the change also from smaller corporation, larger corporation you worked with. What was every time a bit your personal driver behind every role or position you took?
This changed over time. I actually have lots of siblings too, so I have 9 siblings, and then it was always, you had to show yourself, right, to the world. And I think in the beginning of the career, I was driven by impact, but as well by making it happen. So think big and make it happen. And now over the last years, it has changed. It's still to think big, right, to think in advance, but it's actually to help people develop themselves in the best way they can be for themselves and the organization. And I think it's more, becoming to leave a mark.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. We have a last question here from the public. Swiss used to have an important place in attracting foreign headquarters. What is the situation now, and what are the main challenges to attract big companies to Romandie?
So it's still the same. Switzerland remains to be one of the most attractive countries for headquarters or very innovative companies that actually are looking for research partners. I mean, we've seen before our data scientists from Dieta and EPFL. Now, what is changing is that the competition is growing very, very strongly. And particularly in the Romandie, you have a great advantage, because in the end, you don't want every company coming to Switzerland. I mean, we realize there is not so much space. But what you're looking for in the Romandie is for very innovative companies that are a perfect research partner, be it for EPFL, for other companies, and you're able to attract those companies because of the research and innovation excellence. So you actually do very well.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Simone, Wyss, Fedele. Thank you.